Okay, so today is going to be upper body at the gym this morning. It's a rainy night last night. So I've been having difficulties kind of figuring out what to do for these upper workouts. I feel like I just want to hit everything, so I'm having a lot of difficulty kind of picking and choosing which muscle groups I want to work out, and I try to follow routines that I've made on my phone. But then I look at it and I say, oh, did I hit that last week? So should I hit something else this week? Anyways, I've decided that I'm going to try and hit 2 exercises per main group. So probably gonna ignore arms on upper days, just because they're going to be used in a lot of the compound workouts I'm thinking of doing. So probably going to start incorporating more incline bench or incline Smith machine. I used to swap those into like my chest day every second week, but since I've swapped to this new routine, I haven't really hasn't been incorporated really, aside from some incline machine pressing. So do those. Back, I'm thinking of starting to do more. I think I mentioned this in one of my videos last week, but rows or T-bar rolls or something like that. I think aside from that, the rest is going to be pretty much the same. Shoulder presses, probably some lateral raises. Probably some cable flies. Maybe we'll do pec deck instead of cable flies. I don't know, I haven't decided yet. Maybe we'll do pec deck because I do cable flies on my chest day or push day or whatever one you want to call it. But the goal for today is going to be more form focused push lifts. Try and really focus on like muscle contraction. Probably going to try and hold lifts at the top position for a couple seconds and then almost work till failure. I'm not anticipating weights to be anything too crazy or impressive, because I'll be hitting so many different groups. But yeah, anyways, something else I was going to chat about today was what was it I was going to talk about today? Oh, like my goal for the next year, kind of like just body image stuff in general, and where gym's busy today. Can't get this frog in my throat. And kind of like where I've come from in my weight training history up till now. and why I think this year is going to be hopefully different. But I'll chat about that after the gym. Just pulling up now. Yeah, I think I'll chat about that on the way back. This video seems a lot more difficult to say than other ones. I am tired today, though. Alright, so the plan's going to be we'll hop in, do cardio, get 35 minutes of the bike in. Probably going to hit up some Suica game because I've had my high score taken from me. Or the leaderboard has been topped by my wife now, so I gotta work on that. My strategies haven't been really helping me out in that game, so probably chip away at that for the next 30 minutes while I'm on the bike, and then drink pre-workout while I'm on the bike, and get ready to head upstairs. And I think it'll be something like incline bench on a Smith machine, and I'm still torn between like rotating groups or if I should just hit one and get it done. I do find rotating through kind of helps because I tend to get a little tired with being fasted in the morning and then also in a caloric deficit. So I think I'll do bench incline on a Smith machine. I'm torn between T-bar rows or dumbbell rows, like bent over rows on a bench with a dumbbell. So one of those. And then I'll probably sneak in like I'll do shoulder pressing on a machine. I'm not a huge fan of dumbbell shoulders. I have one kind of wonked out shoulder and I don't want to aggravate it before chest day, and I find that the machine's been working fine as far as activating it and getting it to fatigue. So I used to like the dumbbells because you could really stretch them down, but I feel like I can get the seat high enough in the machine to do what we need. So front, back, shoulders, and then, like I said, I'll probably go back, swing around to either a cable fly of some sort, probably focusing almost like straight across, or a pec deck. Haven't decided which one of those. Back, again, I'm thinking like rear delt raises or rear delt back flies, whatever you want to call them. Those will likely be with dumbbells. I find I like those a lot more than the pec deck machine backwards. And to finish off shoulders, lateral raises on cables. And we'll see how we're doing with time. If it's not like late, then I'll probably sneak in maybe some machine curls and machine tricep extensions just to make sure everything's been hit. And those would likely be just right to failure. But I'll get in there and see how it goes, and I'll come back out and give you an update. All right. I was this close, somewhere between there and there, this close to recording a couple sets today, so I almost feel like I want to record something, but then I'm worried for 2 reasons. One, again, about like my not self-image. Like I really don't care too much what people think about me. It just kind I don't know. I guess I do. Which is probably the issue. But then also, I don't want to be like one of those people that's recording in the gym and everyone else feels uncomfortable because they're worried about being in the background of a shot, because I know that's like a huge problem in some places. So I almost feel like I need to have like a sweater with something on the back says, if you don't want to be in, or if my recording bothers you, tell me to stop, or I don't know. That sounds also very stupid though. I don't know. I think the big issue, and I was going to talk about this anyways, is about like body image and social media and like fitfluencers or whatever we're going to call them nowadays, is that there's such a I don't know what you can call it, like the standard, I guess you could say, for people that can be, giving advice or should be fitness influencers, which is not something I'm trying to be or thinking of getting into or anything like that. But I think when you look at like that caliber of, people who are weightlifting for X amount of time, or using certain things to enhance their lifting, versus like somebody like me who's kind of just doing it recreationally to help. Well, mine is just like a goal I have for myself for the year, but it's also to help me with my communication skills, because I just wanted to record stuff to force myself to get talking. But it kind of creates this weird like dichotomy of, like, if in order to get into that space or to think anything you're saying is relevant, you almost have to be at this top caliber of lifter or be this size, or you know what I mean. So I think that's kind of like one of my roadblocks as well, is I feel like, well, I'm definitely not at that caliber of lifting, even though I've been doing it for a decade irregularly, and obviously not ultra successful, but I like to think I have a decent idea of what I'm doing in the gym as far as rep ranges, weight to pull, and stuff like that. So it's not so much I don't have the knowledge. There's probably thousands of people out there that have more knowledge, been doing it longer, and might be even more personable, because either they're not struggling to just communicate on a regular basis like I am, or they're already an extrovert personality and been doing maybe YouTube for a lot longer before getting into the weightlifting kind of scene. So that's my big thing, my shtick. The other problem is running into anyone I know. God forbid, that would be like a living nightmare for me. So there's like a few hurdles I'm mentally working on trying to overcome, and I don't know how, if there's just going to be like a day where I just do it and becomes the normal thing for me, or it's probably going to be a slow process. If I had to guess, this thing is having a real tough time focusing. It is super bright. I'm going to have to get an ND filter for this camera. So yeah, that's kind of like my thing with like body image. I've said a couple times I've been doing weightlifting training and trying to do dieting for the better part of a decade now, and I'd say probably the closest I ever got to it was right before I went into paramedicine. So that's a little over maybe like 12 years ago now, and it was probably when I was at my heaviest, and I did P90X, which is like the old Beachbody routine with Tony Horton, and I stuck to that. Like, I was like very strict because I was really not in the shape that I liked. I was going to the bar all the time, obviously eating horrible food when I was going to the bar or after the bar. Alcohol was, a huge caloric intake when you look at like beer, or even spirits and stuff like that. So I really stuck to the diet. I was still living at home, so that made it a lot easier. So there is some like changes, in life now. I obviously have kids, a wife. I work as a paramedic, and I also teach at the paramedic program. So I kind of mentioned this in one of my earlier videos. Having these other responsibilities makes it a little bit more tricky. But I think at the same time, it also gives you, for me, it drives me to want to push through and, be successful with it for my family and, even just for myself, for, being physically active at work and being able to, safely perform lifts and stuff like that. As far as like handling patients, or like the training I did earlier this week with extricating people from the woods and stuff like that, or from, remote areas with the equipment that we have. So that's kind of my my drive for things. The whole, like I said, body image is something I've always struggled with. I don't really know at what point I kind of like triggered in my head, I guess you could say, because there was obviously a point when I was, in college, or my, early years of education, when I was going out drinking with friends, that I didn't really care. Obviously, I was doing all the drinking. I was, eating food and stuff, and putting on the pounds, but it didn't really click in my head. So I can't really think of, there's one picture I know for sure. If I can find it, I'll share it. But it's a picture when I was first met my wife and we were dating, and we have like an old carousel in town here, and there's a picture of me sitting on it, and it mortifies me to this day to even see it. So that was like one of those things I know even now still kind of like says, I'm never getting back to that kind of shape. But more recently, I'd say like over the past year or so, I've been pretty strict with at least eating half decently and staying active in the gym. Not to a point of, being, I don't know the word I'd say for it is, definitely not as strict or routine as I would ideally like to be for the most part over the past, even say 5 years. But, most recently, like this summer, we traveled, and there's pictures of me, going to the beach with the kids and stuff like that, and still like not super comfortable with it. Obviously, I still have belly fat and stuff that I've been trying to lose, which is kind of like my big point of contention, or what I've struggled with for a long time. So that's kind of still my drive. Like I said, family, a little bit for myself, some for work. And I'm trying to figure out at what point does the weight loss, level get to a point, or my self body image versus what I think is acceptable to start recording and being able to provide advice to other people on social media without everyone thinking, what the hell is this guy doing? Anyways, that's something I'll work on. If I figure it out, you'll be the first to know. Well, you'll be the second to know after I've recorded it. Anyways, till next time, thanks for watching. We'll see you again.